This meeting is being recorded.
All right, so good evening, everyone. My name is Kelly Olson. I'm the Director of Student Services, and we are here tonight to talk about building positive relationships with your child. So again, I'm Kelly Olson. I'm the Director of Student Services. Then we have Ms. Harmon. She is our West Oak campus social worker, and then Mr. Carr, who is our social work intern at West Oak Intermediate. Oh, actually at West Oak campus.
Hola, buenas noches. Las personas que están el día de hoy, esta noche con nosotros, es Dr. Kelly Olson. Ella es la directora de servicios estudiantiles. También tenemos a Lindsay Harmon, trabajadora social de la escuela secundaria West Oak. Y también tenemos a Will Carr. Él es practicante de trabajo social de la escuela secundaria West Oak. Y yo soy Mitzi Monroy. Yo soy la secretaria de la secundaria West Oak.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about really identifying how to have a positive support at home, building that and how we build that at home successfully, talking about the level of communication, our size of the problem, and then what supports we can put into place to really develop a positive relationship with your child.
El día de hoy, de los temas que vamos a hablar, sería qué es el comportamiento, por qué definir el comportamiento, identificar comportamientos. El comportamiento es una forma de comunicación, cómo construir un ambiente positivo en casa, como caracteres de apoyo, enfoque provocativo, oído activo, poner límites, muchas luchas de poder, el HALT. ¿Qué tan grande es el problema? Estrategias para apoyar el comportamiento positivo, como manejo de estrés y atención plena, ejercicios de respiración, caja de herramientas de habilidades de afrontamiento.
So we wanted to first talk a little bit about what behavior is and why it is a form of communication. So anytime that a child is showing behavior, they are trying to communicate something to us. And it can communicate a variety of different things. It can communicate the needs that they have. It can communicate wants. It can communicate desires. And it can communicate dislikes. And behavior can look, as we all know, very different. It can look like a child yelling. It can look like a child ignoring you. It can look like a child trying to get control of a situation. Just a variety of different ways that a student can really show you that they are trying to get our attention and communicate something. What we need to know is that until that child's need is met, they're going to continue to have those behaviors and continue to actually increase that level of behavior because their needs are not being met. And we have to look at what are they trying to communicate, and then how do we dissect that to meet that need of that student.
De lo siguiente que vamos a hablar sería el comportamiento de una forma de comunicación. Desde el mismo momento en que nace un bebé, mantienen la capacidad de comunicarse con el mundo a través de sus comportamientos. De la misma manera que un bebé llora cuando está triste o tiene hambre, una persona puede bostezar cuando está cansada o reír cuando cuentan un chiste. Nos comunicamos a través de nuestro comportamiento en todo momento de todos los días, aunque no seamos conscientes de ello. El comportamiento de una forma de comunicación que se refiere a un esfuerzo de un individuo por comunicarse sería necesidades, quereres, deseos, o no me gusta, o etcétera. Cuando las necesidades permanecen insatisfechas, un estudiante a menudo puede usar un comportamiento problemático o más intenso como en una forma de enviar un mensaje fuerte.
All right, so to build that positive support, we need to have some strategies put into place. So we look at different ways of having supportive characteristics and building their relationship with your child, having a proactive approach, and then being an active listener, setting limits, and avoiding power struggles. And then there is an acronym called HALT that we will actually talk further about.
Construyendo un ambiente positivo en casa. Estrategias para construir un ambiente hogareño positivo serían tener características de apoyo y establecer relaciones, tener un enfoque proactivo, ser un oyente activo, establecer límites, evitar las luchas de poder y el HALT.
So supportive characteristics. We really want to make sure to have that healthy relationship, that we are spending time with our children and building that positive relationship, looking at what their interests are, talking about what their interests are, and then listening with their interests. So if they're really into Legos, learning all about Legos with them, when they're going and talking about the different pieces and why those pieces work together, that you are listening and building that relationship, and even building together with those Legos to really develop that relationship further and deeper. Also, it's important to be honest on maybe how you're feeling, honest that you see how your child's behaving, honest on how you guys can communicate together to deepen that relationship so they know what you're expecting and what they're expecting from you as well. Confidence is a really big piece for our students and children, building their confidence, letting them know that they're successful, showing them how to be successful, and really encouraging them to take small risks to build that confidence. Again, with that openness, is being open with them about how their behaviors are impacting you and how you'd like to work on that together to meet their needs. Showing them empathy. I understand that you're really upset right now. What can I do to help support you? What can we do together? Let's take some deep breaths. Let's go on a walk. Let's color. And really being empathetic to your child's needs. The other piece is, we all know that sometimes when you're a child, you get fixated on something. And let's just say the purple crayon breaks and they're very upset about this purple crayon. To us, it's just a purple crayon. We can get another one, not a big deal. But to them, it is everything. We have to be empathetic to them to understand, like, they are upset because that purple crayon broke. And we need to be empathetic to them so they know that we are understanding them and listening to what they're saying. Humor is always great, and putting that in there to make them laugh and giggle when they're struggling is a great way to deflect from the situation and also bring it back to that to help it. And then being flexible, letting them know things don't always go as planned, and we have to be flexible in meeting our child's needs and in meeting their needs.
La siguiente cosa de que vamos a hablar serían las características de apoyo. Las siguientes características son importantes para los padres, adultos cuando trabajan con los estudiantes que tienen diferentes necesidades de comportamiento. Construyendo una relación, honestidad con el estudiante, una confianza para que los estudiantes puedan tener pues confianza en ustedes, aperturas, cuidando y empatía, humor y flexibilidad también con el estudiante.
So then being proactive means you're catching it before it happens. You're acknowledging when the student is starting to escalate. You're acknowledging when your child is starting to get frustrated, and you give them those breaks. You put in the different breaks that you guys have really talked about. So maybe it's that they go and watch their favorite show and you give them 10 minutes to kind of relax with that show, and then you come back and try and work again with them. You use strategies to really go ahead and meet their needs before it gets to a point where their anger is so much or their behavior is so much that it becomes a bigger deal and bigger situation than just them maybe saying I'm frustrated or I'm mad, or just a little bit of a yelling or a little bit of a throwing a toy on the ground.
El enfoque proactivo. Ser proactivo es clave y el primer paso de reconocer cuando un estudiante está escalando. Utilizar las siguientes estrategias no permitirá pasar de reaccionar a responder a ellas. Si los estudiantes a ustedes les dan como 10 minutos de descanso de ver la tele, pues ellos igual tienen que entender que en esos 10 minutos tienen que regresar y continuar el trabajo en el que estaban haciendo. Pero así tienen que respetar igual que si ustedes les dieron permiso de ver la tele 10 minutos, ellos tienen que prometer que cuando tengan ese break van a seguir su trabajo con el que estaban haciendo.
Another important
Yep.
part.
Ms. Harmon's going to go ahead and jump on in with active listening.
Another important part of building that positive relationship is active listening. So to be an active listener, we need to take into account what your child is saying verbally and non-verbally. We also need to understand what they're asking for. So sometimes asking clarifying questions is going to help in understanding and making sure you know what they're asking for. Also listen for the feeling words. If they're saying they're mad, they're frustrated, they're upset about something. Also acknowledge that each person has their own truth. Validate the feelings they are sharing with you. Also giving eye contact and having a friendly and open expression on your face is going to help them open up about what's going on. Listen closely and withhold judgment.
Escucha de activa. Para ser un oyente activo necesitamos las siguientes estrategias. Tomar en cuenta lo que están diciendo verbalmente y no verbalmente. Entender lo que están pidiendo, escuchar los sentimientos, reconoce que cada persona tiene su propia verdad, validar sus sentimientos, dar contacto visual y tener una expresión amigable y abierta de su rostro. Escuchar atentamente al estudiante y retención de juicio.
Another important section is setting limits. So students need to have those predictable limits to help them feel secure and provide them with guidance on expected behavior. The following items are key to setting those limits. Avoid using fear, intimidation, obligation, and guilt. Clearly state the specific boundaries with a corresponding consequence. And with that corresponding consequence, it should be a logical or natural consequence that results from not following the limit, and it should be a consequence that's enforceable. Also, avoiding a power struggle is important in establishing those positive relationships.
Otra estrategia que podría funcionar para las familias sería poner límites. Los estudiantes deben tener límites predecibles para ayudarlos a sentirse seguros y proporcionarles orientación sobre el comportamiento esperado. Los siguientes elementos son clave para establecer límites. Evite el uso de miedo, la intimidación, la obligación y la culpa. Indique claramente el límite específico con la consecuencia correspondiente. La consecuencia correspondiente debe ser una consecuencia lógica y natural que resulte en no seguir el límite y debe ser ejecutable. Evite la lucha del poder.
The next section is power struggles. So a power struggle occurs when two people hold different ideas and both are unwilling to compromise. To avoid this, try some of the strategies that are listed below. Establish an agenda for the day. So, when your child gets home from school, what are you going to do? Are you going to work on homework? Or are you going to give them time to relax? Are they going to have a snack? So routines are very important for children. But also find a common interest and build on that interest. Like Dr. Olson said earlier, if they like Legos, talk about Legos, what each piece is, the importance of each piece. Be friendly and smile. Use one-word directions. If you can limit the verbal directions you're giving them, the more helpful it's going to be. Also remember that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to give a reason behind saying no. You can just say no. Also provide choice, find a win-win and compromise, and also just brainstorm solutions with your child.
Luchas de poder. Una lucha del poder ocurre cuando dos personas tienen ideas diferentes y ambas no están dispuestas a llegar a un acuerdo. Para evitar esto, pruebe alguna de las siguientes estrategias. Establece una agenda para el día. Encuentre un interés común y aproveche en ese interés. Sea amable, sonrisa. Puedes sonreír con el estudiante y decirle, tienes que seguir estas reglas para poder que ellos entiendan que las cosas que ustedes le van a dar tienen que ganarse. Utilice una dirección de una palabra. Recuerde que no es una oración completa. Ofrezca opciones. Encuentre un ganar a ganar compromiso. Lluvia de ideas para soluciones.
And then, as Dr. Olson said earlier, HALT is an acronym. So we will go over what HALT stands for, but it's important to teach students to become self-aware and to engage in self-care. When your students' physical needs are not being met, they have the potential to escalate into aggressive or acting out behaviors. A handy way to teach children to remember their physical needs is to use the acronym HALT.
Vamos a hablar de lo que significa el HALT. Es importante enseñar a los estudiantes a ser consistentes de sí mismos y participar en el cuidado personal. Cuando no se satisfacen las necesidades físicas de un estudiante, tienen el potencial de convertirse en comportamientos agresivos o de mal comportamiento. Una forma práctica de enseñar a los niños a recordar sus necesidades físicas es utilizar el acrónimo HALT, que significa tener hambre, enojado, sentirse solo o cansado.
So the H in HALT stands for hungry. Hunger can be a physical or an emotional need. If the hunger is physical, offer nutritious snacks, which I know sometimes, especially middle schoolers who we work with, don't like. They like Takis, which don't have too much nutrition, but just offer them fruit or a granola bar or something that's gonna give them that nutrition they need. If the hunger is emotional, help them name the emotional need they're feeling. The A in HALT is angry. So anger is a normal, healthy emotion. Anger becomes destructive when people express it inappropriately. So offer solutions like mediating if they're upset with another student or another person. Physical activity also helps with feelings of anger. Go for a walk, go to the gym, do some push-ups. The L in HALT is lonely. Loneliness can occur both in a crowd and by oneself. Students with emotional regulation issues and behavior disorders withdraw into themselves for a variety of reasons. If you notice your student is withdrawn, engage them in conversation, reach out and use those active listening skills and help the student connect with a peer or even a relative that they can communicate what's going on with. And then the T in HALT is tired. When we're tired, we find it difficult to cope. Problems seem bigger. The world seems more hostile when we're tired. If your student feels tired, encourage them to rest or take a short nap. If that's not possible, go for a walk around the block or encourage them to take a couple of deep breaths that will help them become present in the moment.
El HALT significa H, hambre. El hambre puede ser una necesidad física o emocional. El hambre es física, ofrecerles bocadillos nutritivos. Si el hambre es emocional, ayúdelos a nombrar las necesidades emocionales que necesiten. El A es un coraje, la ira de una emoción normal y saludable. La ira se vuelve destructiva cuando la gente es expresiva de manera inapropiada. Ofrezca soluciones para mediar el estudiante está enojado o con otra persona. La actividad física también ayuda con los sentimientos de ira. Ir a caminar, ir al gimnasio, algunas reflexiones. La L significa soledad. La soledad puede ocurrir tanto como multitud por uno mismo. Los estudiantes con problemas de regulación emocional y trastornos de conducta se retraen en sí mismo por variedad de razones. La nota es un estudiante se retrae, hágalo participar por una conversación. Extienda la mano y participe en una escucha activa. Ayude al alumno a conectarse con un compañero. La T significa cansancio. Cuando está cansados, nos resulta difícil afrontarlo. Los problemas permanecen más grandes. El mundo parece más hostil cuando estamos cansados. si su estudiante se siente cansado, anímelo a descansar o a tomar una siesta corta. Si eso no es posible, salga a caminar alrededor de cualquier cuadra o anímelos a respirar profundamente un par de veces.
So after using things like HALT and active listening to help identify the need of the child and the communication that they're trying to get across, you can then implement some coping strategies. Identifying the size of the problem helps the child to choose the appropriate reaction and coping strategy.
Vamos a hablar de los tamaños del problema. Puede también, número 5 significa un problema muy grande, extremo. El número 4 sería un problema grande, pero no tan grande. El color amarillo significaría un problema mediano. El problema número 2 estaría en el color verde, y el problema número 1 estaría en verde oscuro.
So stress in the mind and body impacts anyone's ability to focus and process information, not just children. Like as adults, we feel that as well. At any time when your child starts to feel more overwhelmed, they can take a few minutes to calm their mind down and body by using a mindfulness exercise. This can also help them to identify their feelings and feel more recharged. So some examples of those mindfulness exercises are breathing exercises, completing a body scan, which just kind of means you start at your head and then you work down your body and just being in the present and feeling what each body part is feeling. Feeling check-ins, yoga stretches for kids, and then journaling and or coloring.
Algunas estrategias para apoyar el comportamiento positivo serían: el estrés en la mente y el cuerpo afecta la capacidad de cualquier persona para procesar y concentrarse. En cualquier momento en que su hijo comienza a sentirse más abrumado, puede tomar unos minutos para calmar su mente y cuerpo mediante un ejercicio de atención plena. Esto también puede ayudarlos a identificar sus sentimientos y sentirse más recargados. Ejercicios de respiración, completar un escaneo corporal, registro de sentimientos, estiramientos de yoga para niños, escribir un diario o colorear.
So some stress management and mindfulness. Students can also benefit from using items to manage stress, whether they are working through a problem at home or at school. So some examples of some items would be stress balls, fidgets, poppets. An example of a poppet is on the screen there. Putty, Play-Doh, slime, and squishies.
Algunos objetos que pueden hacer que el niño no esté tan estresante. Los estudiantes también pueden beneficiarse al uso de los elementos para controlar el estrés, ya que sea que estén resolviendo un problema en casa o en la escuela. Los siguientes objetos que les voy a mencionar serían algunos usos para el estrés: bolas de estrés, agitación nerviosa, una pelota como de goma, un putty, que significa como una plastilina, o un squishy, que significa como una pelotita que tiene como agua y está suave, que pueden ellos jugar con las manos.
So then some further strategies to support positive behavior are some breathing exercises. And on the screen, you can see these two different examples. One is you breathe in as that thing expands, and then as it closes, you breathe out. And then you have a square that you would hold it for 5 seconds at a time, or 4 seconds. And then you can also do ones on your fingers, going up and down the finger, breathing in while you go up, and then breathing out while you go down.
Algunas de estas estrategias para apoyar el comportamiento positivo serían el respirar. La respiración es muy importante para los estudiantes, especialmente cuando están muy enojados o agresivos. También pueden hacerle con sus manos y contar como 1, 2 y así mismo estar respirando.
So a coping toolbox is a type of strategy that you take all the strategies and then you kind of put them on a list, or like you kind of make a toolbox or a suitcase. And it's so some examples are using a mindfulness activity, coloring, drawing, exercise, listening to music, writing, reading a preferred book, drinking some water, eating a snack, talking to a friend or family member, and connecting with a trusted staff member at school. So the student is just able to have a list of things that they can refer to when they start to feel those big emotions.
Estrategias para apoyar el comportamiento positivo. Caja de herramientas para hacer frente. ¿Qué tipo de estrategias pueden utilizar los estudiantes para sobrellevar cuando se sienten molestos? Esto puede extender las actividades de mindfulness pasadas. Usar una actividad de atención plena, es decir, respirar, escribir un diario, reflexionar o hacer yoga, etc. Colorear, dibujar, es decir, libros para colorear terapéuticos. Ejercicios, escuchando música, escribiendo, leer un libro preferido, beber un poco de agua o comer un bocadillo, hablar con un amigo o un familiar, y el último sería conectarse con un miembro del personal de confianza de la escuela.
So I'm not sure if we can get this link to everybody, but if you go ahead and search coping toolboxes or self-care plans on the internet, there are a lot of great options to look through to help you and your child sit down together and make those toolboxes.
Algunas otras estrategias para apoyar el comportamiento positivo sería irse al internet y poner unos ejemplos de cómo hacer habrá unas cajas como de herramientas para afrontar situaciones difíciles y planes del cuidado del personal. Puede darle un clic a la caja y ahí lo llevará directo para algunas estrategias para apoyar el comportamiento positivo de los estudiantes.
So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'd love to see if anybody has any questions or any concerns, anything that you'd like to bring to our attention, we can help address for you as a team. And I will go ahead and give you a moment to go ahead and put that into our chat box. Also, there's a short survey here. We'd love to have your feedback to see how we're doing and other topics that you would like to see in the future.
Si tienen algunas preguntas, comentarios, nos podrían poner aquí en la cajita de abajo. También aquí se encuentra un código donde usted lo puede escanear, dejarnos como un comentario de cómo estamos haciendo y de qué otros temas quisieran que nosotros presentáramos como para ayudar.
All right, so I'm not seeing any questions tonight. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you here in January when we talk about IEPs. And we'd love to see you then. Thank you.
Gracias, que pasen buenas noches.